Howdy, everybody. I am Katie Pace, the Hardin County Agricultural Extension Agent for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. For our Future Friday today, we have with us Jordyn Sills, who is the Regional Manager for Corteva Agri. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. How are you, Katie?
I'm great, and I'm glad that you had time to hop on with us today.
Of course, anything for 4-H.
So I know you're kind of new to Texas. We've talked a little bit beforehand. So why don't you kind of tell us what brought you to the great state of Texas and how you got here?
Yeah, so I actually just graduated from Purdue University in last May. So I'm a year out now, and I'm originally from Indiana. So I graduated and I got a job with Corteva Agri and decided to move wherever they kind of wanted to place me. So I did my trainee job in Boise, Idaho, and worked in the Pacific Northwest. If you ever get a chance to visit the Pacific Northwest, like Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, gorgeous places, 10 out of 10 recommend. But I knew that it was a little bit too far from home. I didn't want to be 27 hours away. So I ended up applying for a job here in Texas, and I get to live in College Station. So it worked out really well. I had some friends that I grew up with that are currently in College Station too. And so I just figured it would be a good spot to kind of stay for a while. So I was very fortunate to get the job.
So you're a little bit different than some of the people we've talked to. Everybody might not know what Corteva Agri is at all. So why don't you explain to us a little bit about what your job is and what you kind of do every day?
Good point. So Corteva is a very, very new company. Our parent companies were known as Dow and DuPont, which are probably a little bit more familiar to most people. And basically Dow and DuPont merged, and that created Corteva Agri. So as of today, we are the only standalone ag company that is U.S. owned and U.S. based, which is pretty cool to kind of keep it here in the United States. But you could think of us very similar to that of Monsanto or Bayer, BASF, Syngenta. Those would be some of my direct competitors. But what my company does is we are a manufacturing company. So we actually manufacture corn seed, cotton seed, and chemicals as well, and sell those to retail locations such as Nutrien, Helena, Simplot, Pinnacle, and then they go ahead and sell it to a grower. So whether that be a rice grower or a cotton farmer or a corn farmer or whatever that is, we have products for basically that whole entire acre. So I sell the chemical side of it. So I don't sell any seed. I don't sell cotton seed or corn seed, but I sell the chemicals. So the herbicides that were to go out and kill weeds in a field, or insecticides, fungicides. So pretty much any chemical that can go out and kill something in a field would be in my wheelhouse. So as far as a day-to-day operation for me, it looks a little different every day. I can't say that I have a very systematic job, that's for sure. So I kind of just depends. Some days I have meetings scheduled, and I'll have 3 meetings before lunch, a meeting at lunch, and then 3 more meetings after lunch. Sometimes I leave my house at 5:30 in the morning and I don't get back until 8 o'clock that night. And sometimes I have an office day, work from about 8 until noon, and then kind of get the afternoon to relax. So being in sales, I kind of get to build my own schedule, which is awesome. And your days get flipped around a lot. You just have to be really flexible depending on people's schedules. Some things, especially in agriculture, I'm sure everyone's aware of this, come up, things come up. And so I just try to work with my customers and make sure that I'm flexible if they need to change the time around and flip my morning to my afternoon or my afternoon to my morning. So no day looks the same, but I spend a lot of time just going out and having conversations with growers and my retail customers as well. I spend a lot of time in fields looking at crops and how my products performed or didn't perform too. So it's a lot of fun, and no 2 days look the same, that's for sure.
So considering you're in sales and you get to kind of make up your schedule, you have to be very self-motivated in order to make sure you hit your sales marks and keep up with all your customers.
Exactly. And if you don't, it will go noticed. It's definitely not something that you can fly under the radar with, at least not for very long. So I'm regularly calling my boss, checking in with other coworkers, and just kind of making them aware of what I'm doing, along with talking to customers pretty much 24/7. My phone is ringing and with questions, and just, catching up with guys. So yeah, you do have to be self-motivated. That's for sure. You can't just sit at home and expect the work to happen for you.
Absolutely.
But that's also, I would say, the rewarding part of the job is you do get to see your work pay off at the end of the year when you hit your sales plan.
So I think the last thing that I kind of have for you is, what would be your advice to kids who might not be involved in agriculture now, or are involved and want to stay involved and have a career in that field?
Good question. So my advice for those that are not involved in agriculture would be to try to get involved through people such as Katie, like county extension agents and just different people that are also involved in 4-H or FFA. If you're lucky enough, I was lucky enough to have a really, really competitive FFA program in Indiana where I grew up. And so that really helped launch my agriculture career. So if you want a career in agriculture and you have an FFA program, that's a great way to do it. And then also, if you don't have an FFA program, another great way is through 4-H, which I was also a 10-year 4-H member. So just reach out to those people. That's what people like yourself, Katie, and people in those positions are for. And that's kind of why they chose to be in those positions as well, as to help people like that. So don't be afraid to reach out for those who aren't already involved. And then my advice for people that are already involved in agriculture, maybe you got lucky enough like I did and grew up in it. My advice is just never to say no to an opportunity. If you get an opportunity given to you to go be on a livestock judging team somewhere, or be on a soils judging team somewhere, or whatever that might be through 4-H or FFA, just take advantage of those opportunities, because you never really know what is going to come from that. If I wouldn't have taken advantage of moving 27 hours away from home from Indiana to Idaho, I would have never probably ended up in Texas. And so I think that just take whatever chances you can and make the most of it, because you only get 10 years to kind of go through the 4-H thing. So make the most of that opportunity. And if you're lucky enough, it can turn into a career.
That is really great advice. And I was also in 4-H and FFA literally from the time I was in third grade till I graduated high school. So it's really great to see there's not only me on that side, that there's other people that went through that, and that's how it transitioned into their career.
Yes.
That is about all we have time for today. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, and thank you from Texas A&M AgriLife Extension and Hardin County.
Yes, of course. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.